Would you like to see how I turn this into this? Well, keep watching. Hello and welcome back, and to those of you that are new, welcome. I am Natalie and I run Afterlife Artistry, which is an online taxidermy art business where I make frames and displays for sale for home decor, but also my YouTube videos are tutorials on taxidermy and pinning, but also some rehousing and unboxings of my pet spiders and other inverts. Now today we are doing part 2 of the fret pose pinning tutorial, which is now, because they are dry, we are going to now put them into a nice dome. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that. So first of all, you will need your dome. So you can get them in all different shapes and sizes. Some you can get in IKEA, places like Hobbycraft, Temu, Amazon. You just need to find what best suits your specimen that you have to put in the dome. And also, for these specific ones, they were just plain wood. So if you buy ones out, you'll need some acrylic paint, black acrylic paint to paint them. You will also need some cork bark, which you can either buy from a reputable shop like the Spider Shop, or you can go and get some from the wild and dry it out yourself. Obviously, don't go pulling it off the trees, just collect what's naturally on the floor. Same going with the moss, and you will also need some some craft glue. This is the one I use, and I will leave a link in the description. Now you also could use dried flowers and foliage, but I think with the fret pose tarantulas, I don't like to put anything else in with them because it takes away from them. So that's just my personal opinion. So we are going to be doing the Togo Starburst, which is now ready, and today we are also going to be doing a little time lapse of the Metallica. So I hope you're going to look forward to seeing both of those go into the domes, and we'll just jump straight into it. Okay, so here we have our two domes. We've got a 15 wide by 15 centimeter high for the Metallica, and we've got a 15 wide by 20 high for the Togo Starburst. So these were just, what we're going to do now is obviously move the glass to one side, and we're just going to paint these with this black acrylic paint. Now you need to use acrylic paint, not poster paint, because poster paint will chip off, acrylic paint won't. So we're just going to do a little time lapse now painting these. Okay, so that's both the tops done. You just need to make sure you check inside that there's not too much globby paint, because otherwise it takes ages to dry, and it usually takes about an hour for the top to dry. Then you just do the bottom once it's dry, because otherwise it will stick to the paper and you get paper stuck to it. So we're just going to leave that now, let that dry, and then we'll do the bottom. Okay, the next thing you need to do after you have painted your bases is then start to build up the base to put your tarantula on. So I've got a few options here for wood. Obviously it's your own artistic style, but I like to build up a small base so where the fret pose of the body is sat, so it's sloping towards the body so it can sit on it nice and securely, and then the legs are in the moss on the base. So obviously you don't want anything too big, so you need to like shape your piece of wood downwards, model it down. I usually use some old pliers and just break off bits of wood and make loads of mess. Oh, I forgot to say this, I actually measured, so I got my specimen, and before I bought the dome, or got the dome, decided which dome I wanted, I just measured the widest leg span on the legs that are set outwards, so I knew that it would fit into the dome even with the glass part on the top. So that one is going into here. Well, they're both actually the same size bottom bit, but the tops are bigger and smaller sizes. But what we might have to do is just take the pins out of this tarantula now and then measure it against the base. So I actually thought we'd just start with the Togo Starburst, then we'll move on to the Metallica. So here we are. She's unpinned. It's a bit of a moment of truth here because some of those legs look like they're staying up, but I got a feeling they might not when we move her, which is going to be devastating, to be honest, because she's not. And those fangs are really stuck in. They are. Just put it there like that. You can't see. Hang on. So, okay, they are. What we can do is glue her and then pin the legs. This one is not dry, that. But what we can do is glue it and then pin it for a couple of days, and it will just dry solid then. I'll show you how to do that, because sometimes it happens and half of it's dry look and half of it's not, which is just crazy. I don't know how long it's been drying for. Anyway, let's do the base. So this is slightly too big here. I'm just going to take some of this off, like we did with the other one. I might even cut this away. I'm just going to take some of this off. I want it quite tight to that edge, look, without it obscuring the glass, so I'm going to take a bit more off this end. Whatever we decide to do about Starburst, we might repin her and leave her to dry up like that, or I might pin her onto the bark with her legs up. Either you can do, you just got to leave them to dry. They do actually seem to dry a bit quicker once they've been pinned into position. Weirdly, not pinned in position, once they're like on their final bit. Don't ask me why, it doesn't make any sense, but sometimes that's just the way it is. What's that? It's just glue. So we want to put this bit here. So next we want to get our moss on, so I'm going to use this moss, which is really green, that should look really nice against that Togo Starburst. And there we go, and then we'll just start sticking our moss on. And get right up under those edges, like I said before, so it just finishes it off nicely. This glue is really sticky, which is a really stupid thing to say about glue, but it is. Okay, and then like I said, we've got that little front bit there. I hope I've got enough moss to fit in there. Should do. And we'll just put that moss in there. So we'll finish it off nicely. We've got these bits, it's got bits of twigs and stuff. Because as you know, I get all my moss from the woods, and then I just dry it out myself, because obviously you can buy it on Amazon, but you know, it's not a very big bag for how much you pay, and I'd rather take the time and energy to dry it out myself, which obviously either takes a week or so air drying, or takes a little bit of time to just do it other ways, like on the radiator, which I've done before. Okay, that's that done. So what we're going to do is leave both those bases to dry for an hour. I'm going to just lift this up so you can see hers, because she's moved, look. So what we're going to do, we're just going to push her back into position like she was. We're going to leave her like that. We're going to leave those dome bases to dry for an hour, and then we'll come back and decide what we're going to do. The Metallica's ready to go onto her base. So I should definitely be showing you that one, and then I'll let you know what I decided with this one, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I actually left these to dry overnight because they're just, well, they're firm now and it's not going anywhere, which is what you want. So we are going to start to mount our tarantulas. So we're going to start with our Metallica, who is completely bone dry. It is looking very lovely, look. All those blues and yellows popping. So we're going to just, I put some pins back in it off camera yesterday. So we're just going to take them back out. Gently. Like that. So, I'm going to take your specimen, take it very gently by the leg. Don't take from the bottom ends of the legs, you might like snap one off then. And then we're just going to glue and maybe use some pins our tarantula into place. So we just want to have a look where we want it. So I want to make sure it's gluing it down with the bits like that. I'm just going to zoom in for you. Better. Right, so what you want, get your craft glue, get your spider very gently, not like that, and we'll put a little bit of glue on the bottom of this carapace, a little bit on the abdomen, and then you want to put some on the wood as well. Now this wood does run, so sometimes it can run in places that you don't really want it to, and it makes a mess, but so just try and use it sparingly as you can. And you just want to position your tarantula where you want it to sit, so it is going to be completely glued, holds it. Let me just have a look at this from the side. So yeah, that looks good. So what we want to do is just get a couple of pins in between those legs. You don't want the pins to stay in there, just lightly pin it into place, just to keep it in position while the glue dries. This is the tricky bit. So oh no. See, that's moved now slightly, I think. Can't see in there. Sorry. Right, we're just going to leave that a second, because it's just going to keep moving. The more I touch it, it just move. So we want it to dry before we do anything. So we'll leave that to dry, and then we'll pin these back legs into position, glue them into position. So we'll leave that one over there to dry. Now with this one, with the Starburst, as the legs in the fret pose aren't completely dry yet, God knows why, as it's been drying. Look, these back ones are fine. They are big chunky legs though. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue it onto here, and then we'll glue the legs up, pin the legs up if we can. If not, it'll have to go back onto the board and just keep drying for however long it needs to dry. But sometimes they will dry onto the cork bark, and actually they dry quicker on there, which is strange in itself, but true. Just take the pins out again. The Starburst, what I'm going to do is just grab her by the carapace. She is not as dry as I would like. do the carapace. Weird. Anyway, so what we're going to do, we're going to have her like that. Now, those legs are staying pretty well now, so maybe they've dried even more in one day. That happens. But we will just slightly pin them as well, just to keep them standing up for a few more days, and then it'll be solidly dry. So what we want to do is just take by the carapace. Come on, don't knock me right. Yes. Okay, for one sec. See this groove here? We're just going to glue into there. And then down to here. That's the glue there. And then we can stick her onto there. It's not straight, I've just noticed, sorry. And pick her up again. Right, that's how we want her. That's how we want her. What we're going to do is put a pin in either side so she doesn't move about. Then we'll do the legs. So it's just showing you that if they haven't dried, you can still mount them, and then they'll carry on drying in the mount, in that position in the. So what you want to do now is get your legs, back legs, put a little bit of glue on your finger, or get a brush. It depends on how you want to do it. I just do it with my finger, I just find it easier. Pick the leg up, put a little bit of glue on the toe, like this, and position the leg how you want it. And that will just dry like that. Same goes for all the other legs. Bring that one up there. Lovely. And what we can do is just slightly get a pin in behind the abdomen. It's just a bit straighter, look. Into the wood. Like that. That looks good. Good, 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 good. Okay, so now the front legs, we need to get that glue off your finger first, so you just rub it off. And then we'll sort out these front legs. So we can easily just pin them so they carry on drying up in this position. So what we want to do is get a pin here. Be really careful. And then there's one. Might need a few. Try and get ones with bigger top bits on. I know you can't really see this, but oops, it's not even holding that leg at all. Right, that's that one. And then we want this one up there like this. There we go, see? So you just pin the legs out like that, and it can just dry on the base like that. Leave it for another few days and it'll be dried, I expect. And look at those fangs. What is on that fang? So we just want to do the other side, so we'll start with this one, which we want bent over slightly because it just gives it a slight difference everywhere. And there you go, look. How to pin it while it's still on the cork bark. So we're going to leave that to dry now, so obviously it needs to dry as long as it takes. But I'll show you the finished product on this one once it is dry. But I think, as you can see, it's looking pretty good. Okay, so now this is finally dry. It's taken months, so you have to be patient with these things. Sometimes they take a long time. So what we're going to do now is take the pins out and put the pins away, and then we will glue the we'll give you a good look, and then we'll glue the top down. Now what we'll do now, you see this groove down in here, we'll just have to trim all this excess off. I'll do that set and some scissors. I thought we'd done this already. Obviously not enough. There we go. Okay, so we didn't want that. And then what we're going to do is you get your glue. I'm not going to do it now because I want to video it without the glass top on first. I'm just going to show you what to do. So you get your craft glue. Do not use super glue because super glue makes glass turn white. So make sure you use craft glue like this. You get your nozzle and you squeeze glue very carefully all the way into that gap, all the way around. Make sure your dome is nice and clean, and then pop the top on. And then I'll show you the finished product in a minute. So there she is, all finished and looking very lovely. And then I'm just going to show you the Metallica finished as well. Look at the blue on those legs, absolutely beautiful. So here's the finished dome, looking very splendid. It'll be going off to its new home tomorrow because it's already sold. Not surprising, is it, with it beautiful. Let me just put it up to the camera, how beautiful it is. But please go and check out my website for other stuff that I make. If you want any help with tutorials or having a go yourself, please give me a message as always. And like the video if you do, subscribe if you're not, and notification bell for future videos. And I'll see you next time.